Triangle has side lengths of 5, 7, 8. We want to know if the triangle is acute, obtuse, or right. How do we know? Well, remember that if you have a triangle, if you had a right triangle, a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. If you open up your right angle more than a right angle, here's your c side. If you open that angle up even wider, your c side gets longer. And so if you have an obtuse triangle, your c is even longer than it would normally be. If you close this angle out and make an angle that's less than 90, c would become shorter. So if c squared is greater than a squared plus b squared, it's obtuse. If c squared is less than a squared plus b squared, it's acute. And of course, if it's equal, you have a right triangle. So in this case, we have 5 squared plus 7 squared. We're wondering if that's equal to 8 squared. And in this particular case, that's 25 plus 49. And the question is that equal to 64? And the answer is no. 25 plus 49 is equal to 74. So this is too small, which means that we are going to have an acute triangle because the c side is smaller than it would be if it was a right triangle. Okay, number 10, this depends on whether or not you've learned altitude on hypotenuse patterns. If you haven't learned altitude on hypotenuse problems, then I would use the fact that all three of these triangles are similar. So you've got this little right triangle here with the side length of x, and that's all you know. The middle right triangle, if you draw it in the same position, you've got a hypotenuse of 10 and a long leg of 8. And then the big right triangle, you have a hypotenuse of x plus 8, and you have a long leg of 10. And you should be able to see two of the triangles will match up with each other. So you can basically set up a proportion. You could do like left over right equals left over right, that sort of thing. So 10 over 8 is equal to x plus 8 over 10. And you can cross multiply here. You'll get 100 is equal to 8x plus 64. If you subtract 64 on both sides, you're going to find out that 8x is equal to, looks like it's going to be 36. So x is going to be 36 over 8. 36 over 8 is 4.5, or 9 halves, and that's going to be your missing value. All right. Next one, boat tied to the pier by a 25-foot rope. It's pulled in 8 feet. How far does the boat move forward? So your thought would be, well, if the rope's pulled 8 feet, you're thinking the boat will move 8 feet. But it turns out that's not how that works. If you look at the original picture, the dock is 15 feet high, and this boat is out 25 feet. We can figure out how far the boat is from the dock. That's actually a 3, 4, 5 triangle. So this length is going to be 20, or you can use the Pythagorean theorem. If you pull the rope in, the dock height doesn't change. It's going to stay 15. But if you pull the rope in, this will be 8 feet less, which is 17 feet then. And then suddenly you have a little 8, 15, 17 triangle. So it means the boat was originally 20 feet away, and at the end it was 8 feet away. So how far did the boat move? Well, if it moves from 20 feet away to 8 feet away, it moved 12 feet. You can subtract those two, and that's how many feet it moved forward. All right, this one here, we have midpoints. You've got multiple right triangles you can create. I can call both of these x. I can call both of these y. And AF is radical 41, and BE is 2 radical 26. And so, for example, I have a triangle with a side length of 2y and x and radical 41. And I've got that long, thin triangle with a y and a 2x and a 2 radical 26. And I can do Pythagorean theorem equations for both of these. That's going to be that x squared plus 2y squared, make sure the whole thing is getting squared, is equal to radical 41 squared. And that's just x squared plus 4y squared is 41. For this equation over here, we could do 2x squared plus y squared is equal to 2 radical 26 squared, which is going to end up being 4x squared plus y squared is equal to 2 radical 26 squared is 104. And then basically you can set up a system of equations and solve this. I'm going to multiply my top equation by -4. If I multiply the top equation by -4, that's going to give me a negative 4x squared minus 16y squared is equal to 4 times 41 is negative 164. And if we add these two equations, we're going to end up with negative 15y squared is equal to, I think it's negative 60, isn't it? Yeah, negative 60. Divide both sides by negative 15. Y squared is going to be 4, which means y is going to be 2. At that point, you can go back and find your x. You can sub into one of these equations. Let's see. So if y was 2, that would be a side length of 4. And so you'd have 4 squared plus x squared is radical 41. Squared. 16 plus x squared is 41. 41 minus 16 is 25. So x squared is 25. That means x is going to equal 5. And they want the length of AB. So let's see, x is 5. So 5 and 5 gives us a length of 10 on this side. And y is 2, so 2 and 2 gives us a side length of 4. And they want the length of AB, so it's another right triangle. 4 squared plus 10 squared is equal to AB squared. And that looks like it's going to be 116 is AB squared. So the square root of 116, and 116, I know is divisible by 4. Yeah, ends up being 2 radical 29 when you simplify. All right. And then the final question down here, they want you to fill in the following values. First of all, this is 7, 24, 25 triangle. These are trig ratios. Remember, sine, cosine, and tangent are just fractions. So cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And so you go to angle A. The leg adjacent to angle A is 7, and the hypotenuse is 25, okay? They just want the fraction. Sine of angle A. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Opposite is 24. 25 is the hypotenuse, so 24 over 25. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. We're going to angle C. So the opposite side is 7, and the adjacent leg is 24, and that's my fraction. All right, measure of angle C. You can set up any trig equation you want. I'm going to set up a tangent. I'll use the 7 and the 24. The tangent of angle C is 7 over 24. And remember, I can use an inverse trig function to switch the input and the output, also called the arctangent. And make sure your calculator is in degree mode. And we can type that in here. And that's going to be about 16.260 degrees.